Welcome to the Simply Pediatrics Podcast, simplifying holistic healthcare for infants and children. We're so glad you're here. Join Jennifer Zethner, holistic pediatric nurse practitioner and holistic mom of 3 on a mission. Listen in as she shares the answers to the most asked questions from parents in her practice every day and offers parents practical strategies and actionable steps to support their child's health and well-being. Enjoy this insightful episode of the Simply Pediatrics Podcast and stay tuned for more information at the end of the podcast.
Hi, I'm Jennie Zethner. That's right, I'm here in my car. I don't know about the rest of you, but I find sitting in my car to be very peaceful. It happens to be one of the quietest places I have in my life. I have 3 children. I work full time. I'm busy like the rest of you, and I really would like to share information, and doing it from my car is most convenient. So I'm going to ask you to please forgive if there's any commotion behind me, any beeping, any dogs barking, ambulances, fire trucks, etc. I'll do the best I can to find quiet places. I assure you I will never be driving my vehicle when I speak to you. I will always be pulled over and parked. I am typically parked waiting for one of my children to come out of an event or something. So that is what I'm doing with my time here. And I look forward to sharing information with you. And again, forgive me for being a little unprofessional being here in my car, but I hope it works. And with that, let's get started.
Today's episode, cough.
Hello and welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today we are talking about the basics of cough in our children. So real basic information for families out there in regard to the variety of coughs and essentially what do they mean and what can we do for them. All right. So one of the most common coughs we see in our otherwise healthy children. So we're not talking about children who have a history of asthma. That's different altogether. So in our otherwise healthy kids, the most common cough that we hear about is what we consider a loose or wet cough. So that's a cough who sounds like they're coughing up something, right? People always say they're coughing up stuff in their lungs. That's actually not the case. When you hear a loose, wet cough, it is, for the most part, a cough that's coming from the upper airways, so up here, like in the nose or in the passageways, where we have some mucus built up, and it drips to the back of the throat, irritates us, we cough, and then we cough up that mucus that's coming from the upper airway. And we either cough that up and swallow it, cough it up and spit it up, or for our young kids, if they swallow a lot of that mucus, they will actually vomit it up, and that's really okay. If your child vomits up some of that mucus, that's okay. They got it on out of their bodies. No big deal. So a loose, wet cough in our children is considered not emergent. I know they may sound miserable, but usually a wet coughing kid, they sound awful, but they actually look okay. They don't usually run fevers. They actually seem okay, but the cough sounds vicious, and that's what brings parents to go to their medical provider. So a loose, wet cough, seek out medical care if you'd like to, but that's not usually considered an emergency because it's not affecting their lungs, right? They're getting oxygen, they're oxygenating just fine. They're just having a harsh cough. So that's the most common cough. The next type of cough that we hear about commonly is a croupy, barky, dry cough. So if you've never heard a croupy cough, it is very distinct. It literally sounds like a barking seal. And parents really don't miss it. When they hear it, it's pretty alarming for them if they've never heard it before. And it almost immediately sends them running to their medical provider. Depending on the age of your child, listen, if you hear a barky cough in an under 6-month-old, certainly go seek out medical attention. You can watch them and see how they're doing above the 6-month-old mark, especially if they're breastfeeding, they may handle it a little bit better. But what croup is, it's an inflammation of the upper airway, and it sounds like a barking cough. It's worse at night. A barking seal. It's worse at night, and they can go into what we call coughing fits. Essentially, they cough, the cough scares them, they cry, the cry makes them cough, and then it goes round and round. And it's worse in the middle of the night. You can break the cycle of a croupy cough by taking them outside or bringing them into like a humidified bathroom. And those are the 2, quick tips for that specific type of cough. And it is always worse at night. Most children with croup seem pretty good all day. They may seem a little raspy, and then at night it is worse. So that is what that cough is. It's an inflammation of the upper airways. For the most part, we're not having difficulty breathing unless your child is younger and they're having multiple coughing fits, and in which case you may want to seek your medical provider sooner than later. The next type of cough is a dry, wheezy cough. So a tight, dry, wheezy cough is concerning. So if we have a tight cough, a wheeze, a dry cough, that is coming from the lungs. So what's happening there is we either have a child that's having a wheeze where the airways are constricted, or we perhaps have pneumonia where there's fluid there in the lungs. And that type of cough should seek medical attention sooner than later as well. So what can we do when our child has a cough? For starters, for any one of these coughs, certainly have on hand Manuka honey. No matter what kind of cough is going on with your child, if they're over the age of 1, you can start Manuka honey immediately. You're not going to hurt them, and it will absolutely help them. Manuka honey has been found to be better for cough than any cough medication. So Manuka honey is expensive. Certainly get the best one that you can. There are a variety of different Manuka honeys, and you can read more about that. I'll attach something to this podcast on the bottom. It's very interesting. Manuka honey comes from specific trees in New Zealand. Not the trees, the bees make it from a specific plant in New Zealand. And it has very high antimicrobial factors, which means it kills off bacteria, viruses, fungus, and is very healing and used in a variety of different ways. So again, if your child is over the age of 1, offer a small amount of honey, not a teaspoon. Families always talk about a teaspoon of honey. If you have ever taken a teaspoon of honey, it is so overwhelming. Please don't give your child a teaspoon of honey unless they really like it, in which it's still too much, quite honestly. If they really like it, that's too much honey. You want a fingertip amount, and it should be the child's tip of their finger. So that small little amount every few hours is really adequate to assist with a cough. If they like it in tea, that's perfectly fine as well. Many of our natural cough remedies out there do contain honey, and all of those are wonderful too. They often are honey mixed with some herbs. Keeping some herbs on hand, herbal tinctures or cough remedies that contain herbs is also helpful. So herbs of marshmallow root or licorice root, elderberry syrup, cherry bark tastes good and is very helpful for our coughing children. Keep also on hand supplements that contain turmeric, ginger root, garlic. Keep an onion. You can put those either. You can put the onions on your in your socks. You can put an onion in your soup. You can put ginger in tea, ginger in our food. Garlic, onion, ginger, turmeric. Also keep teas on hand. Teas that contain mullein are very helpful, especially for our mucousy coughs. In addition, ginger and echinacea teas as well. Very, very helpful. If you can find elecampane, this is also a really nice herb to use in a tea for our children who are coughing. All of these, can be kept on hand in preparation, or when your child first starts with a cough, getting either the supplements that contain these ingredients or getting these ingredients themselves, or supplements directly. Herbs can be found in tinctures that can be given in like a little bit of water, or you can find the herbs found in a lot of our great natural cough remedies. And soup, old-fashioned chicken noodle soup, there's actually studies to show that old-fashioned chicken soup is helpful for our flus and our colds. So you can start a soup up or purchase a soup. Bone broth based is wonderful. Garlic, onion, all that, the heat and the liquid from that helps to open up everything. It clears the mucus. It opens up our airways, really soothing for any type of cough we have, whether it's an upper airway cough or a lower airway cough. Keep some homeopathy on hand as well. Speak to your local homeopath about what's appropriate for your aged child to keep on hand for a cough. Spongiatosta in general is good for every aged child. Particularly, we use that one for croup. And you can get that started the moment you hear a croupy cough. Get that one going, and it can lessen the length of the illness. Epsom salt bath, very easy to keep Epsom salt on hand in your house. Put some Epsom salt into the bath for your child. Give them a bath each day while they have a cold. It will help to open up airways. It also helps with the body to detoxify. Gua Sha, Guasha, is a really nice technique to learn to use on our kids who are specifically having the lower airway type of cough. So that's our wheeze or pneumonia. And what it is, and I'll put a link at the end of this, is it is a gentle massage of the ribs, and you can use an oil with that. So lavender or eucalyptus are good to keep on hand. Put that in a carrier oil like coconut or olive oil, and you can do a gentle massage on your child's ribs. Now, it's a specific type of massage, so do look at the videos. It's difficult for me to explain in words, but do watch the video. It does help to open up the airway for a child when they're coughing. And really, lavender and eucalyptus on a child with any type of cough is also helpful in a chest rub. So putting a rub right on their chest, with a carrier oil, or purchase, someone who's already made a chest rub for children in a natural form is also, very helpful. Cool mist humidifier. I suggest families buy a new cool mist humidifier really each season if you just get a real cheap one. The expensive ones are difficult, I have found, to maintain because they can accumulate mold very quickly, versus just buying one that is less expensive and kind of just used for a few times and then gotten rid of before it accumulates any mold. And the cool mist used by your child's bed when they're sleeping will also help them, will help decrease some of the coughing episodes. So cool mist humidifier, the chest rub near them, the Epsom salt baths, keep some essential oils on hand, all of our herbals that are really, really helpful for children. By the way, if you find that your child won't take your herbals, right? The licorice, the marshmallow, the elderberry, those are all kind of sweet, so it's easier to get them in. But some of the ones that are a little bit more tricky, like the ginger or the turmeric, the mullein, they're a little bit more bitter. If you're having trouble getting any kind of supplement into your kid, a really good tip is to make what I call an herbal ice pop. So you take your herbals and you put them into an ice cube tray along with ideally water with a drop of juice. With my kids when they were little, I used to use grape juice because a little bit looks like a lot, right? Because it's so dark. It kind of makes them think it's something that's sweet even though it isn't all that sweet. And when you freeze the herbs, the taste dissipates a bit. So if you put a small amount in ice cube trays, crush it up, put some honey over it. By the way, Ceylon, Ceylon, cinnamon is also very soothing when we have inflammatory conditions going on like a cough. And of course, most children like cinnamon. So putting some honey and cinnamon over those little herbal ice pops, and then maybe even slush it up, your child usually will take that right down. If they do take these, do it when they're in the bath. Really, cold, icy stuff isn't ideal on our body when we're coughing, but if they're submerged in warm water and they're taking it, it kind of balances your body off a little bit. That's just like a little trick I used to use with my children. If you have ice pops and you want to be more creative with your herbal ice pops and make a whole ice pop out of it, that works too. Diet in general when we're coughing is also important. Diet is always important, right? But when our kids are coughing, it's not a great time to indulge in dairy, floury, sugary, cold or raw foods in general. Particularly dairy will increase the mucus load. So please, if your child even starts with a small little congestion in their nose, take that dairy right out of the diet. I can tell you this, if you have a little bit of a congested kid and you head out to a party that night and they get mac and cheese and they get ice cream, and the next day you will have a very sick child. So really be mindful and proactive when you see that maybe they're off a little bit of avoiding the floury, sugary, dairy, cold and raw stuff, and in fact keep them home and allow them to rest so that they stay hydrated, and that will lessen the length and the severity of the cough in general. Vitamin C is another great product to keep on hand. Vitamin C can be given to children of all ages, including our infants. And it is good for any type of cough, whether it's our croupy cough, our wet cough, or our potential pneumonia or wheeze. Vitamin C will help. And you can check in with your medical provider in regard to the dose, because that will range depending on the age of your child. Please note, moms and dads, I know there's many different cough medications on the market. They're really not safe at all for children. I don't recommend any of the cough medications that are out there. For our children with coughs, we do not want to suppress any type of cough, right? We want to assist them with getting the mucus out of their body, getting the inflammation out of their system by supporting them, right, with some of these supplements, allowing them to rest and, giving them them some patience and time to clear the inflammation out of their body. If you do not have a chiropractor readily available in your life, I strongly encourage that. Cranial sacral therapy is the technique that I recommend that families have for their kids in general. It's good for our health overall, but when your child has a cough, it really is helpful to kind of soothe the airways, open up the nasal passages, and clear through. It will lessen the length of the illness as well. Okay, moms and dads, obviously this was a quick insight on general cough. If you think your child's having trouble breathing, or they have a fever and a cough that's going on, certainly have them evaluated sooner than later. Otherwise, keep some of these supplements and foods on hand in your house so that the first sign of a cough you can get on top of that illness, and perhaps it will lessen the length or the severity of your cough in your child. I hope this information was helpful. Remember, parenting is a journey and you're doing an amazing job. Stay curious and keep learning, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining Jennie on the Simply Pediatrics podcast. We hope that the valuable information she shared in this episode will inspire and empower you on your holistic parenting journey. If you would like to learn more about Jennie, her Simply Pediatrics practice, or anything that she spoke about today, please check the show notes that accompany this podcast, and you'll find all the links and resources you need. You can also sign up for the Simply Pediatrics mailing list so that you receive Jennie's weekly newsletters packed with vital information and holistic parenting gems. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider giving this page a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episodes. And don't forget to connect with us by sharing your thoughts in the comments section below. Follow Simply Pediatrics on any and all of the social media platforms. And if you're interested in an in-person or a virtual appointment with Jennie, please see the contact details in the show notes. Stay tuned for more episodes packed with a wealth of powerful information to support you on your holistic parenting path. See you next time.